I sent a question. I want you all to start attempting it. Today we'll try and do as many questions as possible because I've collected a lot of geography questions. So yeah, just try. I'll give you a minute longer. Try answering the question. And for everyone who's answering D, I want you to read the question very carefully. Okay. So answer is A. Answer is A. And the reason why answer is A, okay, like this, again, this is a question which is from NCRT, so you cannot afford to get it wrong. That waves are a form of energy. So the energy moves along the surface of the water itself does not. Okay, remember that. That wave is an energy which is generated by wind. Therefore, wave moves the energy forward. The water itself only circulates in a circle. Like try and look at diagrams which are there in NCRT, diagrams which are there online, diagram which is there in GC Leong as well. In GC Leong also there's a diagram of wave which will show that in wave water moves in a circular manner. It does not move along the surface. Okay. Others are important characteristics of waves. Steep waves are young, steady waves are from faraway places. Again, a line which is from NCRT and GC Leong. And that wave break, meaning the wave break is what we see at the shore. If you go to a beach, you see a wave fall on top of each other, right? Like wave collapsing. That happens when the depth of water is less than half the wavelength of wave. That's why it happens near the shore. Okay, let's do the next question. There's a very important difference between waves and tides. Tides happen due to gravitational force and gravitational interaction. Wave happens due to wind. Okay. Next, this is also something we have discussed. So take an attempt at it. I'll give you a minute. Let's try and do as many questions as possible. Fine. So correct answer is D. So congrats to everyone who got it right. It means you've been paying attention. And just a quick description of what the other options are so that you revise glacial landforms. So deep, long, wide troughs with high vertical walls and as well as sides is a cirque. Remember we did cirque. Cirque is the initial portion, the deepest, most highly vertical portion of the glacier, glacial trough which is created. Then U-shaped valleys with steep sides. These are U-shaped glacial valleys. Glacial valleys are U-shaped. Okay, they're wide and have steepness. C option is unsorted glacial deposits comprising of eroded material. This is glacial till. This is known as glacial till. And D is esker. Esker is a long, narrow ridge, largely formed in the summer. Okay, again something which is directly from GC Leong. This is also a direct question, which is there directly from NCRT. So I want you to answer and answer quickly. Okay, good. Almost all of you have gotten it right. Answer is C. C is this weathering by hydration. And why is it hydration? Because calcium sulfate, the hydrated form is known as gypsum. Okay, so hydrated form, which is gypsum, continued repetition means that there's expansion, contraction, leading to weathering. Okay, answer is C. This is there directly in NCRT. So I won't spend too much time discussing this. Again, this is also a direct concept from GC Leong. Okay, so mixed responses. Answer for this question is D. Answer for this question is D. Why? Like, try and go logically, go step by step. To answer such questions, go step by step. What is a karst formation? Karst is limestone. That much you know, that much you have to remember. Okay. Karst is limestone. In limestone, what did we study? We studied that limestone leads to formation of sinkholes, swallow holes, uvalas, and deposition leads to stalactites, stalagmites. Okay. So basically, what does the topography of karst look like? There are sinkholes, there are swallow holes, there are depressions. So in such a situation, what is likely? Is high agricultural productivity likely? Do you personally know any place that has sinkholes, swallow holes, people can fall inside, Crops cannot grow like, will it have high agriculture? No. Instead, what is it more likely to have? Given what we know about the erosional forms, given that we have studied erosional forms like sinkholes, what is most likely to happen here? It is very likely that people will not like to live. Why will people like to live in a region that has sinkholes? Then you have like remote areas of Arctic. This is not true. You know that remote areas of Arctic, these are like pastoral activities. These are not caste activities. So vegetation is also not possible. Arctic is also not possible. And you know, humans do not like to live here. That's how you reach the answer D. Like keep connecting, keep trying to connect what you have studied to the question. See how you can deduce and infer the answer from there. Fine. Next question is slightly challenging, but you need to know this, so I'm putting it anyway. Try it. So answer is A. And how do we reach answer A efficiently? Okay, how do we reach answer A efficiently? That is our goal, right? So look at the third option logically. Look at the third option. When there is increased ultraviolet rays, okay, we keep saying UV rays are harmful, UV rays are harmful. If increased ultraviolet rays are there, how will ocean productivity increase? We said that ozone layer hole is a huge issue. Antarctic hole is big issue. Why? Because it will lead to ultraviolet rays coming into the atmosphere. If it was leading to the increased ocean productivity, that would be wrong, right? So just try and connect it with what all you already know. You know that ultraviolet rays are bad for the Earth. That's why we have ozone layer. That's why we have Montreal Protocol. We have ozone depleting substances we are removing. Chlorofluorocarbons we are eliminating. It is all to get rid of UV products. So if you eliminate 3, then the only one left is A. And my point is that even in a question where you do not know all the details, right? In this question, you do not know all the details. Some of these details are technical, right? Even then, it is possible to crack the question. So you need to focus on trying to attempt questions this way. This is why I'm giving you these questions in class. So that you try and understand that you do not need to know everything to solve a question. Sometimes you just need enough information to crack the question. This is one of those questions. Okay. And for those who want to know the details, Drake Passage is between South America and and Antarctic Peninsula. It is between South America, not South Africa. That's why statement 1 is wrong. And statement 2 is correct. Statement 2 is correct. Again, like I said, if there are winds, if there are fast winds that are blowing, the water will get shifted due to the wind, and then the what is beneath the water which is beneath will rise to the top to replace it. Okay, so answer is A. Try and focus on answering questions through this kind of approach. Okay. Now next question, again climate question. I was telling you I'm discussing climate also. Climate questions come very regularly. Okay, climate questions come very regularly. Anyone who has made the chart for this, I expect you to get it right. Just think about where Laurentian climate comes and then eliminate options accordingly. Okay, so answer is B. Answer is B for Bombay. And I expected most of you to get this right. Okay, what is the reason for this? Okay, we discussed the rainfall pattern in Laurentian. What is the Laurentian type of climate? First, go step by step. Okay, like this, I told you when we were discussing this, I told you that these terms will be used, like Laurentian, like savanna, like Gulf type climate, all of the Mediterranean climate. These terms will be used. What you need to understand is where does this type of climate occur? If you understand where this type of climate occurs, you can start solving from there. So where does Laurentian climate occur? Laurentian climate is eastern margin cool temperate type of climate. If you had to relate it, Laurentian climate comes in New York. Fine. Laurentian climate comes in New York. Now for cool temperate region, what is the predominant weather factor? Predominant weather factor, we said would be the westerlies. Okay. Similar to how in the tropics it is easterlies, temperate zone it is westerlies. So the rainfall that is caused in New York is largely due to westerly activity, which is bringing the wind with moisture laden wind into New York and Laurentian region. So in this case, what is the biggest factor? It is the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean, from the Atlantic Ocean, moisture is coming. Not only the moisture from Atlantic Ocean, all cyclonic activities that take place in the temperate region are being brought in by the westerlies. Okay. So therefore, Atlantic Ocean is the biggest climatic factor as a result out of the options. This is how step by step you need to break it down. And yeah, everyone who has gotten the answer right, like good job. I hope you have all also made the chart. Once you make the chart, these type of questions will be very straightforward. And it is very, very important to answer such questions. Next question is also a fundamental question. Like very fundamental geography concepts are being tested by the question, so please attempt it. So what I'm happy about is that a lot of you have gotten this correct. And answer is A, 1 and 3 only. So what are the reasons for this? Okay. So first, like how are deltas formed? Deltas are formed when sediment is deposited near the mouth of the river. To correlate, think of Sundarbans Delta. Sundarbans Delta is near the mouth of the river, and it is once the Ganga has so much sediment that it cannot carry the sediment anymore. Therefore, it leaves the sediment. So in such a situation, you need sediment itself. Sediment is needed for you to deposit it somewhere. How is sediment formed? Sediment is formed by erosion. So your first option is correct. You need active vertical and lateral erosion so that sediment can be deposited. Okay, first you need to generate sediment to deposit sediment. If there's no sediment which is generated through erosion, how will you deposit? All landform activity, how did we see? First there is erosion, then there is deposition. If there is no erosion, deposition is not possible. So first option is correct. The minute first option is correct, you know option C is wrong. 3 options left. Then second is unsheltered coast with higher activity of tides. So think about this logically. If there is a lot of tidal activity near the mouth of the river, what will happen? During high tide, the sediments will get collected by the sea water and it will get washed away in the low tide. Sediments will be near the mouth of the river. High tide will cover the mouth of the river, and after that the sediment will get washed away. ఇప్పుడు మౌత్ ఆఫ్ ద రివర్ దగ్గర సెడిమెంట్ అంతా ఏం కలెక్ట్ అయి ఉందో డెల్టా లాగా ఫార్మేషన్ అవ్వడానికి ఆ సెడిమెంట్ హై టైడ్ లో కవర్ అయిపోతుంది. హై టైడ్ లో ఏమవుతుంది? హై టైడ్ లో వాటర్ లెవెల్ రైజ్ అవుతుంది, సీ లెవెల్, కోస్ట్ లెవెల్ రైజ్ అవుతుంది. ఆ రైజ్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ సెడిమెంట్ మొత్తం కవర్ అయిపోతుంది. ఆ సెడిమెంట్ కవర్ అయిపోతే వేవ్ యాక్షన్ కానీ కాకపోతే లో టైడ్ లో సెడిమెంట్ తిరిగి సీలోకి వెళ్ళిపోవడం కానీ అలా అన్ని జరుగుతాయి. So you need a sheltered coast. If you have sheltered coast with low tide activities, sediment will stay deposited. So statement 2 is wrong. If statement 2 is wrong, B, C, D are wrong. Only option left is A. Again, C adjoining the delta to be shallow is also same logic. If C is shallow, water will not reach up to delta level. If water does not reach up to delta level, sediment deposition will stay as is. And again, if there's strong current will also take the sediment away. So answer is 1 and 3 only. Let's look at the next question. Okay, so nice. Like a lot of you have gotten this right. Answer is D. D for Delhi. And explanation is also straightforward. In the formation of front, remember that the air mass which is moving towards the other mass, that will be the name of the front. So warm front is when warm air mass moves towards cold air mass. Cold front is when cold air mass moves towards warm air mass. So 1 is wrong because it is ulta, it is interchanged. First is wrong. Occluded front. This is the wrong definition that they're given. Occluded front is when the air mass moves above the front because of occlusion. Okay, this is there in the formation of temperate cyclones. Formation of temperate cyclones sees frontogenesis, and frontolysis is the process of dissipation of a front. That is the stage before after occluded front. Occluded front is when the two air masses completely meet and the incoming air mass moves up, leading to rainfall. This is also a concept which is there in the NCRT. Okay, this is also a concept which is there in the NCRT. So please read the NCRTs carefully, everyone who has gotten it wrong. Next question is tough. Next question is actually tough. It is very fact based, but like try it. Like you need to try such questions. It's a tough question. If you get it wrong, it's okay. But try it and then I'll tell you the technical details. Is D for Delhi. Okay, and like it's a very technical, very tough question. It's okay if you're not getting it right. But you need to know that these terms exist. Circum-Pacific seismic belt, you're all aware. Okay. This is known as like the ring of fire. Second is transform fault, but transform fault they've explained in very technical terms. Okay, transform fault we have seen that there's a divergent plate, there's a convergent boundary, and transform is like this. So transform is when the plane, like to use their words, like plane of separation is perpendicular, like they're moving parallel to each other. But the language in this is actually difficult. It is actually difficult and is very confusing. So it's okay if you're like it's okay to get like very confused with the second statement. The reason I gave this question is you need to know that the third statement is right. Third statement is important and you need to know that third statement is right. Third statement says Alpine earthquake belt extends from Indonesia through the Himalayas up to Atlantic. Okay. So Alpine earthquake belt, this statement is correct. There's one single earthquake belt right from Indonesia to Himalayas to Atlantic through these other mountain ranges, through the Alps and all of these other mountain chains. That entire thing is one earthquake belt, okay, known as the Alpine range. Why Alpine? Because like Alps are involved. The Alps in Europe are involved. Okay, so that term you need to know. That is the main purpose. But those of you have correctly answered D, like well done. I hope like guesswork helped and it worked. Yeah, third statement is also there in NCRT book. So forget the second statement. Second statement is very technical. It is not perpendicular to mid-oceanic ridge. The plane of separation is perpendicular. It is not very important. You can leave it. Also, there's a question. There's a question on in seismic belt volcanic eruption. Is volcanic eruption not more than earthquakes? So volcanic eruption are said to be part of deep-seated earthquakes. Okay, deep-seated earthquakes. That the earthquake effect you will not entirely feel on the surface of the earth, but deep-seated earthquakes are there. Why is there deep-seated earthquake? Because of the trenches. That the ocean crust is getting consumed in the trenches, and that trench earthquake is known as deep-seated earthquake, and that is partly responsible for the island formation, island arcs, and so on. So that is why we say that like volcanic eruptions and earthquakes coexist, at least in these belts. Next, let's do some current affairs questions. I still have more geography questions, but let's do some current affairs questions so that we mix it up a bit. This question, the reason why I'm giving this question is it is extremely guessable. If you use logic, you can guess the answer. And I want you to try and develop that. Like if you keep practicing, it'll come. This answer is guessable. So let's close this. Answer is A. Answer is A for Ahmedabad. So how do we arrive at this answer logically? So the way to do this is like just think about what the vehicle scrappage policy means. Vehicle scrappage policy means old vehicles. Old vehicles, once you cross the life cycle of a vehicle, that vehicle needs to be scrapped. It should not be plying on the roads anymore. So if a vehicle is scrapped and recycled, what will the result be? Option A. If you take the steel, if you take the engine parts, if you take the tires, If you recycle them, it means you will recycle it into what? You will recycle into into materials, recycled materials for new cars. So it will boost availability of low cost raw material. Why? Because you don't need to manufacture the entire steel again. You can recycle the steel from the car. You can recycle the engine parts. You can recycle different components. So option A is correct. Think about option B. Is it likely that government will bring a policy only for commercial vehicles? For private vehicles, it can relax the policy. Okay. Why? Because private ownership, they will have less money. Individuals have less tendency to replace their vehicles. So option two, you can consider as they will relax it for private vehicles. But will the government say no, private vehicles can exist forever? You can use the same Dokko car for 20 years and government will not say anything. No, no. So option two is wrong. So you can use logic to arrive at the answer this way. So option answer is A, one only. Next question is slightly more challenging, but it's important to know. It's important to know. And even this, if you try slightly, you can try and reach a logic at least. Reach some kind of logic. So answer is C. Answer is C. C for Chennai. Now, for those who know the fact, like straightforward, fine. First, obviously, the best way to answer such questions is to know the fact. You read current affairs, read magazines, read newspapers, you'll be able to answer such questions. But in case you do not know this fact, how to attempt this? Third option is it aims to provide potters with modern equipment and training. To answer this, if you know Hindi, you can try and deduce this. So Kumhar in Hindi means potter. Okay. So potter, if like therefore option 3 is correct. Okay. Because Kumhar means potter, option 3 is correct. And if you know Kumhar, you know, and you know potters. Potters are what? Potters are small players. Generally, potters are small players. They're like MSMEs and they're cottage industries. So generally, areas like this, KVIC only deals with it. Okay. KVIC like potters, weavers, artisans, handicrafts. ఇలాంటివన్నీ చిన్న చిన్న ఐటమ్స్ అన్ని కేవీఐసి లోనే వస్తాయి. So 1 is also correct. So 1 and 3 are correct. Doubt is in 2. And I see that in the answers as well. Answers as well, everyone has answered 1 and 3 or 1, 2 and 3. Between C and D, there's a lot of confusion. So it is my approach, might not work all the time. I do not advocate it for all questions. Okay. But for this question alone, something that the way I approached it can be useful to you, might not be useful to you. Others all, whenever I'm 100% certain, I tell you that yes, this is the right way to do it. This approach is, which I'm going to tell you, is not entirely the right way to do it, but it can help you solve 1 or 2 questions. So just I'm telling it to you anyway, you decide if it's useful for you or no. But I do not give this 100% guarantee. Okay. So basically, my logic was, if this had been implemented in every single state and UT, we would have heard of this. If this was a national level mission, what are the national level mission? National health mission, we all know. Ayushman Bharat, we all know. If there is this Uday scheme, we all know, we've heard of it. These are all national level schemes. Okay. India's renewable energy target, India's environmental protection laws, these are all national level schemes. We have all heard about it. If Kumar Sashaktikarana Yojana had been a national level scheme with all states, everyone involved, my logic was somewhere I would have heard of this. But I've not heard of this. This is slightly new. So, which is why it is possible that it is more of a local scheme, which is implemented in certain pockets first. Okay. And that is true. This has only been implemented in some 7-8 states, mostly northern states. Okay. This was my approach, will not work every time, but I'm sharing it in case it can be useful for you somewhere else. Next question is a national level scheme. Okay. So I expect you to know the details of this. Next question is a national level scheme. It has been in the news for 2-3 years constantly. This I expect most of you to get it right. So answer is B. B for Bombay. A lot of you have gotten it right, which is nice to see. Okay, so option 4 is wrong. Why is option 4 wrong? Only the government, only the government institutes of eminence will get 1,000 crores funding. Institutes of eminence list low, there are 20 institutes of eminence, 10 government and 10 private. The 10 private will not get 1,000 crores. Only the 10 government ones will get additional funding of 1,000 crores. Other three statements are right. Institute of Eminence will have autonomy. They can set up foreign campuses, and you can also have greenfield institutions like Geo University. Geo University was set up under greenfield only. So answer is B for Bombay, 1, 2, and 3. Next question has been like this. Next question is important. I'm seeing this scheme Sathi in the news a lot. So you might not have read this. Those who have read this, please get it right. Those who have not, I'll tell you about the scheme. Attempt it quickly. Like this is detailed. I'll cover this topic properly. Also, while others are answering, plan for tomorrow. For tomorrow, I was thinking I'll cover some current affairs topics. Maybe for 30 minutes or so, I'll cover some current affairs topic. Then maybe remaining 30 minutes, we'll do some questions. Remaining 30 minutes, we'll do some questions, mostly from current affairs. One or two, if there are also some important geography questions that I was not able to cover in the past 2 days, I'll cover those geography questions as well. And for Monday, we are going to start polity. Monday, we're going to start revising polity and doing polity questions. So I request you all to revise. If you revise, then the session will be useful. Okay. So Monday onwards, we're going to do polity, also as requested by a lot of you. So the Sathi answer is B. B for Bombay. Now, why is that? Okay. Is it okay if I cover the explanation for this tomorrow? Because the explanation for this will take around 5-10 minutes. It's a detailed question and I need to be somewhere by 6:30. So let's just do one more question and I'll cover the answer for this is B. Sathi, the answer is B. The full explanation I'll cover for this tomorrow. Let's do one more question and explanation for the Sathi thing I'll cover tomorrow. It'll take around 5 minutes, that's fine. This also just attempt it because I think it's an important question. So answer for this is D. Answer for this is D. To crack the question, you only need to know what are the crops covered under MSP. Okay. MSP has only 23 crops and they're relatively straightforward. Out of which so many are minor crops like copra and so on. Okay. So just read through the list of 23 crops because MSP, like we discussed even during current affairs, that MSP is a very important topic. Okay. Jute is covered under MSP. That much is enough to know that answer is D. Incorrect option is D. First of all, question says incorrect. So read the question carefully. Secondly, so therefore, when a minute it says incorrect, answer is D. D for Delhi because jute is covered under MSP. The reason I gave this question also is you need to remember the other three answers. Okay. That first is that government has to use jute in packaging for certain products, and food grains have to 100% be packed in jute. For sugar, it is 20%. 100% of food grains need to be packed in jute. 20% of sugar needs to be packed in jute. And reason for this is to provide support to the jute industry in India, so that jute industry has guaranteed buyers. Fine. That's why we have option A and B. Mandatory statutory requirement to purchase jute bags and pack certain commodities in those jute bags is there. It's there by law. So we'll Sathi answer. Sathi, I forgot the options now. Sathi question, I'll give it again tomorrow and we'll discuss it completely. I'll post it again tomorrow and tomorrow we'll go through the B. Answer is B. Answer is option B. And why it is option B, I'll explain. I'll give you the entire background of that scheme. It'll take around 5 minutes and it's important. It's important. It's important. It's in the news a lot. Sathi scheme is in the news a lot. Every magazine is covering it.